Better get in front of the microphone. Yeah, so please silence your cell phones. Thank you very much. So this is coming to the end of Startup Week. So it's been an amazing week. It's hard to believe it's Friday already. You can see some of the events we've had. We started out with Space Night. On Monday night, we had an investor event on Tuesday. Wednesday then ended up with basically just a big celebration of our startup ecosystem. Last night, we were right here for university takeover, showcase for university pitches. And then, of course, we're here tonight for high school and NMC pitches. We also have then Techstars Startup Weekend going on kind of at the same time. So they're meeting over at the West Hall Innovation Center at NMC. People from around the state are coming together, forming teams. They'll be working all weekend long on products and pitches. And then that will culminate on Sunday night with pitches here again for prize money and awards. So it's been a busy week and a lot of fun. So welcome. Want to take this one, Barb?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Barb Tremont with Newton's Road. So our schedule this evening, we will start with 4 high school teams. We will have a 15-minute intermission while the judges are deciding the order of winners in that competition. We'll come back. We will award the high school students, and then we will start the NMC college competition. Then we'll have also a break then for the judges to determine the winners of that competition. And when they come back, we'll have a little celebration for those winners, and we'll wrap up the evening, and there will be networking back out in the lobby area afterwards, so you can hang out for a half hour or so after.
Barb, you want to talk about Newton's Road and the high schools?
Sure. So Newton's Road is an independent nonprofit focused on STEM education and careers. And this is an example of us working with educators, businesses, and community leaders in the process of creating influential experiences that can lead to vibrant futures for our youth. So tonight's competition, you are seeing the students tonight that each class who participated have selected them to represent their class. We actually had about 80 high school students involved at 4 different high schools, and they have strengthened their skills about the engineering process and important soft skills like how to develop a pitch that communicates the benefit of their ideas, process, and outcomes to an audience. The 4 teams are the AP Computer Science class at Elk Rapids High School, the Engineering Academy, second-year students at the Career Tech Center, the Tech Girls Club at Traverse City Central High School, and the Simatech 10th grade technology class at Traverse City West High School. So many of these students participate in all kinds of STEM-related things, and we commend them and their teachers for making it to this point, given a very upside-down year and unexpected challenges and a spring full of competitions, honors events, athletics, and more. So you rock being here tonight, no matter what happens. Let's give them a hand.
And my name is Keith Kelly. I'm from NMC, faculty member. I'm also on the TC New Tech board. And so one of the reasons why we brought this component into Startup Week is we really as a board want to see a lot more local pitches. And so this is a way that we can kind of cultivate, more local entrepreneurs and startups. As far as NMC goes, we've had a makerspace for about 10 years. We've had some success creating startups out of that. But it's been somewhat limited. And so as we talked at NMC about what we could do, we put together this startup class, 16-week class, where most of the students didn't know a whole lot about startup and entrepreneurship. And in 16 weeks, we did, first of all, ideation, like what are we going to do? What's the problem? Let's pick projects. Let's form teams. Let's create an MVP, which is a minimum viable product. You'll see that tonight. Let's get with a customer, get some feedback. Let's iterate on it. And finally, let's develop our pitch. So you're going to see the culmination of those 16 weeks. I'm really excited about what this team's been able to do and what they'll be presenting for you this evening. So stay tuned with that. That'll be for the second half. So thanks much. Just a shout out to NMC Foundation. So that's our main event sponsor. So there's been a lot of sponsorship for the entire week, but the NMC Foundation is the sponsor for this particular event. They've been wonderful in terms of providing some funding for us, really for several different things. First of all, just to support the infrastructure of Startup Week in general, but then also providing some funding for materials. You'll see some of these teams have produced, product that required purchasing things. And so that gave us funding to do that. And then there's also prize money associated with both the high school and the NMC pitch competitions. Again, all thanks to the NMC Foundation. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Sarah Hunt, who's going to be our MC for the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to be here with you all tonight. But first, we're going to take a chance to introduce our judges. I believe we are missing one judge tonight, but we have a lot of familiar faces for our TC New Tech organization. I've got Greg Terrell. Thank you, Greg, for coming. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening. I'm Greg Terrell. I'm CEO and founder of Look. We're a communications technology firm here in Traverse City.
Right. And then we have Jamie Kimmeler. Jamie, would you take a moment?
Sure. Thank you, Jamie. So I came to Traverse City about 6 years ago. I work for a Michigan-based company, Stryker, and I do licensing of technology out of the company into startups. And I've been very fortunate to get involved as a volunteer with groups like TC New Tech, Northern Michigan Angels, and SCORE. And it's really an honor to be here. Thank you.
Great. We have Jason Slade. Jason, would you take a moment to introduce yourself?
Good evening. I'm Jason Slade from Northwestern Michigan College. We've been really looking forward to this event. I have to put a shout out to Barb Tremont and Keith Kelly. If we could actually give them a quick round of applause. So this is all work above and beyond their day jobs. And the amount of hours that have gone into this is incredible. So I think we're really fortunate to have this event. I've been looking forward to it since I heard about it, probably last August when we were fleshing out the details, and we have some really quality teams. So this will be an excellent event, and I want to thank you all for being here as well.
Thank you, Jason. Next, we have Dan Mastermonaco.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dan. I am a serial software entrepreneur, and I'm also on the board of TC New Tech.
And last but least, we have Ashley Sloat.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Sloat. I own and operate a patent boutique in town. So we do patents for startups of all shapes and sizes, anything from intracardiac devices to patches that measure something to cell phone cases and biotech. So anyways, happy to be here to judge.
Great. Thank you, judges. So are we ready to get this competition going? Who's ready to start? Oh, don't be too shy. You got to get up here and introduce yourselves. Okay, we're going to start tonight. We're going to have Elk Rapids group. The Elk's coming. Thank you, guys. Just remember we have a timer right up front. Okay.
5 minutes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. We are here to present the next big tech protective invention, ear goggles. Audio anytime, anywhere. Ear goggles are a revolutionary new product that works similarly to regular goggles you would wear on your face while swimming, but instead it goes over your ears in order to protect AirPods or other wireless earbuds you have while doing activities that are involving water.
Next slide. This is a quick model of our prototype that we developed. It has a strap and then a case that covers your wireless earbuds that can protect your wireless earbuds from water damage. So our target for this product is, in particular, multiple different groups, but swimmers who would like to listen to their wireless earbuds while swimming laps, also towards people who enjoy outdoor water sports, such as jet skiing, which is a big part of our Michigan summer culture, and also to people who share spaces with other people and would like to keep their music to themselves when they're in the shower instead of using a speaker or something like that.
So part of what makes our product so special is that it's uniqueness. There's no products out in the market right now that do what our product does. And our product is also significantly cheaper than wireless and waterproof earbuds, which can run you from like $200 to upwards of $400. So that's what makes our product special. During the 2021 holiday season alone, nearly 90 million pairs of AirPods were sold. So that means that there are easily hundreds of millions of potential customers for this product. And as was previously stated, our product would be much cheaper than the alternative, which would be like a pair of waterproof wireless earbuds themselves, which could be like well over $200.
So, seeing as there are over 3 billion current active social media users around the world, we feel that using paid advertisements on these sites is going to give us the best reach in sharing our product with potential buyers.
With your support, we would like to take this product to the next step and develop patents for our unique design to protect it, and to maybe refine our design through brainstorming sessions that we can develop new ideas to how to make our product better, and then in the end, design and produce prototypes that we can sell out to the public.
Thank you, and now we are open to any questions that you may have.
I'll start. In terms of your prototyping and testing, were you able to create something that you could try underwater?
Yeah, so we did make one prototype using a 3D printer, and we were able to make it tight enough to block out water, but the strap is like extremely complex in how it has to fit around the jawline, and so we were planning on still working on that in the next coming months.
And did you find any impact on the audio quality, or you really were just focused just on keeping water out?
Well, our design is mostly just based on keeping the water out, and with keeping the water out, there's enough space where it would not affect the audio quality while using your AirPods or any other wireless earbud.
Have you done any market research with potential customers? So interviews or giving them the 3D printed model, having them try it out, seeing how they actually liked to wear the goggles?
We've discussed it a lot, like within our school, and we've talked to people outside of our school. We've had people come in to watch our pitch, and they all seem to think that there is a need for it in our area, especially because like a lot of people around here are passionate about water sports and swimming, like all that.
From a connectivity with the device where the audio is emanating, do you find that is a problem, especially for like I'm picturing an active swimmer, how they might be remote from their phone? Do you perceive that being any issues, or given that there's already kind of buds out there that are waterproof?
Well, buying those earbuds that are waterproof would cost a lot more than our product would, and everyone that already has, for instance, AirPods would be able to use our product. And based on connectivity, we have not found that it affects the original connectivity without the cover, and it would just be based on how far that your wireless earbuds would be able to go from your phone based off of the maker of your wireless earbuds that you bought.
You stated that they were going to be cheaper than existing products on the market. Do you have any idea of what price point you would place these at?
Seeing as like there really isn't anything like this on the market, we feel that we would have a little bit of liberty in like establishing like a baseline price. But through research, looking at materials and all this, I mean, it's going to be significantly cheaper than the $200, $300, upwards of $400 alternatives.
And I had a quick follow-up to that one. Would you consider taking this and maybe associating with like Beats Audio or something else and allowing them to market your product?
Yeah, if we get approached or have the opportunity to work with other big companies, I mean, that's a big goal of especially us. Like we see, for instance, Beats Audio, like it would be an honor to work with them. So we would be considering working with other companies.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. Next, we're going to have the North Ed Services Engineering Academy joiner. We've got quite the crew coming up here. I'll make some room for you guys. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We're the engineering work cell team of the Engineering Academy at the Career Tech Center here in Traverse. And my name is Sam Fikes.
I'm Mackenzie Womack.
I'm Jeremiah Foro.
I'm Lily Kolbus.
And I'm Timothy Blosey.
And we are the Greenhouse Effect.
So our project is based off of the NRC or National Robotics Challenge product of the manufacturing work cell. With this project, we are given a 15 by 15 foot placemat where we would have to manufacture a product using manufacturing processes. Our manufacturing work cell is a greenhouse. So the premise of our project is to create and build a climate where plants can be grown as well as harvest them.
So in designing our robot, we wanted to make sure that it would be beneficial outside of our sphere here in Northern Michigan Robotics. If you look at the bar graph on the right, that's actually data we took from a study published by Penn State where they observed a greenhouse growing tomatoes in Mozambique. And they found it could produce the same amount of crops as an open air farm with only 61% of the water required. And on the left, these are countries that the Global Hunger Index predicts won't even reach a low level of hunger within the next several years. And more than half of them are in arid regions of the world. According to the Food and Agricultural Association, water insecurity directly relates to hunger, so we firmly believe that greenhouses can be a huge help to that. In designing the containment for our greenhouse, we wanted to keep two things in mind. According to the Penn State study, closer crop spacing and reduced evapotranspiration are really important to water savings in a greenhouse. And we also ran into a problem where we realized it would be prohibitively expensive to build a brand new containment system. So we recycled one from a previous team that was at our school, and it's made out of extruded aluminum and Lexan.
For our watering system, we initially wanted to go with a peristaltic watering pump. This didn't end up working, so we ended up ordering a pump online. We also ended up using a dual watering system so that it could be used to monitor the climate within our work cell. So we have our misting system, which is shown in the center picture. Those are our misters, which monitor the temperature and the humidity. We also have a drip irrigation system, which contributes to our water savings within the greenhouse and allows us to effectively water each plant individually.
So our climate control system consists of an Arduino hooked up to a temperature humidity sensor, water level sensors, soil moisture sensors, and ultrasonic sensors. And the data fed from these sensors into the Arduino are used for the Arduino to then control the watering, harvesting, and climate control systems.
So with the harvesting system, we have a separate Arduino that stores the code for the claw movement. So whenever the ultrasonic sensors detect if the plant reaches maturity, it will activate the claw to go to that plot and collect it and drop it back off in the containment center.
The claw is our main harvesting mechanism that we have for the plants. We have based it off of dog poop scoopers because of their ability to pick up an object and take it to a desired location. We made the claw big enough so that it can accompany the entire plant as we move it to an area where then a person can pick it up. And our desired plant was bok choy because of its ability to regenerate itself after it's been chopped at the base, which our claw is designed to do.
So the benefits of our project and their human impact, first and foremost, are water savings, which can directly impact hunger because it saves a lot of water. And it's also beneficial for the climate because the plants in it are planted permanently, and that really reduces the carbon that a farm like generates and releases into the atmosphere. And it also saves a lot of water.
So our program is sponsored by the Engineering Academy, and we would like to request your guys' financial assistance to help continue our program and continue our senior projects that we have at the Engineering Academy. And we also thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Don't run away yet.
Sorry.
So, the idea of greenhouses obviously has been around. So why haven't greenhouses already been implemented in these places? And so second part to that question, obviously there's power requirements to run the type of greenhouse that you've illustrated here. Some of these regions probably don't have as stable power systems as we do in the United States. How do you plan to address those issues as well?
I can take the power side of the question. So in our initial design for the containment system, we had an angled roof, and on top of that roof, we could put solar panels so that it could power itself. That was not a part of the scope of our project for Northern Michigan, but just to adapt it for other climates, we could do that for a possibility to make it more versatile.
And our current greenhouse only requires 30 volts of power, which is more than able to be generated by a solar panel.
The infrastructure in a lot of the countries too that suffer from hunger that were presented there isn't really capable of sustaining very large scale construction projects. But one of the things we were looking at was just automating closed agriculture, simply because we spoke to some people who talked to our whole program about automating open air agriculture, and they told us that it was seriously helpful in reducing cost and labor, but also producing a lot more crops.
It looks like you guys have done an immense amount of work. I saw the unit out in the lobby, and it's awesome. So congratulations. What's next? It looks like you have all of the electronics hooked up. Have you done all the programming that'll actually make it work?
So most of the programming is done for the actual claw system. To continue the project, we would have to figure out the watering system. So we're still working with our solenoids to individually control the misting system and the drip irrigation system. So that would be the main next step for our project. Does anybody else want to add to that?
It seemed like you were highlighting the water savings as the real benefit, but it seems like the claw and its ability to automate the harvesting would also be quite a benefit. Do you see different market segments that could potentially use that innovation?
So actually, at the CTC, we have a program called AgriScience, and they have like an automated plot thing that basically it plants individual plants and can like pick up weeds and water them, but it can't harvest them. So they do like half the process. They can plant and tend to plants, but they can't actually harvest them. And we think that that could be beneficial too, because it's looking like that might become somewhat of a market in the near future with agriculture, is like automating closed air agriculture, but we haven't seen a whole lot that can actually harvest a plant. So that's kind of what we were going for, was going above and beyond where the industry's at already.
You cited the one paper on concerns about the water supplies. Were there any other academic sources that helped influence your design process?
So I did a lot of research with the watering system, looking at a misting system for actually watering the plants versus a drip irrigation system. I don't have any sources offhand, but a lot of the articles that I was reading was saying that a drip irrigation system, because it's more individual to each of the plants, each plant has its own, I guess, watering system or subsystem, if you will. There's more water savings because you're not just spraying water everywhere. It's exactly when the plant needs it. And we also have soil moisture sensors, which monitor when the plant actually needs water so that we're not just spraying at random on a time-based schedule.
Jason, we have 50 more seconds for a question.
I'm really fast. Along those same lines, would that water sensor detect if you had a leak in the unit?
So the water sensors are only in the bucket or the water container that it pulls from to make sure that it's not activating the water pump when there's no water to be sent through the system. I don't think that it could detect if there was a leak in the actual hoses, but that could be easily implemented with the addition of a couple more water sensors.
And then for another future plan is we want to make it so that we have a screen or a mobile app that would be able to detect like if there's a problem or an error in the system that we're using.
Great job. Well, thank you guys. Next, we're going to invite up the tech girls from the Traverse City Central High School. Here you go, ladies.
Hi, I'm Sage. I'm a co-president of Tech Girls.
And I'm Lauren. I'm a third-year member of Tech Girls. Tech Girls is a club that focuses on community outreach to help more young girls in the area pursue their STEM passions. We need more women in STEM because they bring a different perspective to the workplace and to the table than men do. STEM jobs are becoming increasingly important, and we need to fill as many jobs as we can. Currently, only 28% of STEM careers are held by women. We believe that since 51% of the population is women, this demographic should be equally represented and brought to the table in STEM careers. Without proper resources and exposure, many young girls don't pursue STEM because they don't view it as a real possibility. By providing examples of successful women in the area who hold STEM careers, our app inspires girls to follow in their footsteps and encourages them to pursue STEM as an attainable career path. STEMinism also contains many resources for K-12 students to get involved with STEM events and organizations in the Grand Traverse region. There is an overwhelming need for this resource in our community as nothing like it currently exists locally. As a central resource for information and opportunities, our app addresses the STEM gender gap at the source at a young age, leaving girls encouraged and confident to pursue STEM. Now, Sage is going to walk you through our actual prototype.
So from the home screen, STEMinism has a simple design where the user can easily move between different screens to find STEM resources. Our first screen has information about Tech Girls, so the app user can learn more about what we do and how they can join the club. With our app being targeted towards K-12 users, we have a screen with information about different STEM classes available in middle and high schools across the Grand Traverse region, so students can find opportunities within their school to pursue STEM. The careers screen has some examples of different careers in STEM that the user can click between to learn more about those careers. One way the app will generate revenue is from the organization screen. We currently have a few examples loaded in, but in the final version of STEMinism, organizations can pay to have their information advertised on the app. Like the local organization screen, colleges will be able to advertise their STEM programs on the app as another way for us to generate revenue. The Women in STEM screen is meant to help inspire young girls to pursue STEM. We currently have information on 3 women in the community who are working in STEM careers to show the user local career opportunities. With the final version of STEMinism, we hope to expand this screen to women who have been successful in STEM across the globe. The easiest ways for students to get involved in STEM is through local events and volunteering. Many people don't realize, though, how many opportunities we have in the Grand Traverse region. These 2 screens have information on different events and volunteering opportunities for students to experience STEM. These screens are really important in measuring the success of our app, as through these resources, we'll be able to see girls increase in the participation in STEM in the region. We believe that STEMism is the future because we should be using all of the resources we have and not just 28%. Thank you.
Hi. So awesome presentation. So for the metrics, can you go a little bit deeper into how you're going to kind of track, success over time of, how you inspire women to pursue opportunities or careers in STEM?
So there are several ways. As of right now, we don't have any sort of usage tracking on this prototype, but once we actually publish the app, we want to measure how many girls and in what areas of the world are using this app. And while we are still actively working on what success metrics would be and on expanding the app, we would want to see an increase in girls in all areas using the app.
Thank you for the presentation. You mentioned you're going to focus on local organizations, and how would you reach, these potential girls who might use the app? How would you make them aware that it even exists?
Our main thing would be advertising through social media and then also word of mouth, getting this out. Through Tech Girls, we have an event that we do called Recycle Racers, and that is for elementary students. They explore the engineering process, and then through events and like that and other ones that we participate in, we could also tell people about this app.
Thank you.
I was just curious, in terms of your background in being able to code and create this this app itself, had you had experience in that before, or how much did you learn through this startup?
We both took AP Computer Science Principles last year at our high school and used the same platform that we used in that class. It was definitely a different project though than we had used previously, and both of us, as well as one other member, split the code pretty evenly between us, but there was plenty of trial and error, a lot of different gathering information, inserting images and links and that kind of thing that we hadn't learned before, but we did have a good basis of knowledge.
Pardon me. Do you see the opportunity to move this? So it's kind of local to Traverse City and Northern Michigan right now. What about beyond the local environment?
Yeah, so the goal is, as we see the success with this app in the Grand Traverse region, we want to expand it to be a global resource for girls to pursue STEM. And so with the success of this, then we would hope to be able to make it something where everybody could use.
I also think that part of the benefit of this app is that it does target specific communities. So I think we could go the direction of broadening the scope or possibly making different iterations of this app for different areas, because I think it's really important that we have that local women in STEM, local organizations, and that might get a little bit diluted if we try to cover a larger area. So we could make different iterations that focus on different areas.
Actually, to that end, have you considered kind of white labeling an app, right? The process of kind of making it where, actually, you probably would be better to speak about white labeling than I would be.
Basically creating something that other people can use as their own, but it's your app. It looks like it's theirs. It's their logo, their features, that kind of thing.
That would actually, we haven't considered that, but that would actually be a really great solution to what we were just talking about, because here we are, we're students who have went through the school system in this area and have experience being women in STEM. So allowing other young people to take and make their own version of that would market to their own community would actually be a really great idea.
Any more questions? Well, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Next, we will have the Traverse City West High School join us. Solo presenter.
The big green one. The big green one. Go back at all? Yeah, I think so. But go back. Let me know.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Van Collins, and this is my project. All right, so everybody knows that a green light means go, right? And a red light means, and how about a yellow light? caution or slow down. So the problem is there's 50 million people in the United States that have food allergies. And this is the only system that we have to identify that. So raise your hand if any of you have a food allergy, or any of you that know somebody that has a food allergy. Well, I'm Van, and just in case you didn't know, I'm allergic to dairy, gluten, soy, and egg. And these are just a few of the things I'm allergic to. Just a couple. For example, a non-dairy creamer. Non-dairy creamer has casein in it, which is a dairy allergen. So people that are allergic to dairy still can't have that. It's a lie. Like, it's confusing, it's overwhelming, and it takes too long to read a food label like that because it's crazy. So this is Allergy Lens. My idea is using OCR. I'm going to create an app that scans food labels and will tell you if foods are safe or not safe. Why is this so important? Because it's just going to be so easy to use. It's going to be so easy that my dad would be able to use it. This is going to save so much time, and it's going to eliminate the guessing game of having to decode every single food label that you find. It is so hard in my personal experience. Let's take a can of soup. If you take a picture of this using the app, the OCR on the app would scan it, and then it would convert it to text, and then it would identify all of the allergens within that. Then it would tell you if that's safe or not safe, depending on what you told the app is your allergens or not. Here's a quick example. Someone with a peanut allergy can't really have trail mix because these are very common ingredients in those trail mixes. So right off the bat, you can see that there's peanuts and there's peanut oil in it. But there's also things like goober peas. What the heck is goober peas? Well, it's a food allergen for peanuts. What you might not also realize is half of the other allergens in here are also peanut allergens. One of the biggest competitors that this app would have is dogs, because dogs have been trained to smell out peanuts for people with very severe allergies. I think I have a leg up on that because all I have to do is take a picture, and then it would be able to do the exact same thing. So the market for this is absolutely humongous. There's 50 million people in the United States alone, and that's not including their families that would be buying foods for them. So if I charge $2.99 for this app, and only 10% of the people in the United States used it or bought it, that would be $15 million. That's good enough for me. I mean, just saying. So this is Allergy Lens. I need this app, and I'm gonna make it. And if you fund me, I'm gonna use that money to spend developing this app. Any of you that raised your hand or know somebody that has food allergies, you need this app too. This app is going to make it so convenient for you. It's going to make your life safer and easier, and it's going to eliminate the guessing game for identifying any allergen on a food label. It's not going to happen. It's going to save so much time. And biggest of all, it will actually save lives. There's so many people that will benefit from this. And it has so much room to expand too. I could move this on to vegan allergies, or people that just want to be vegan, or somebody that hates strawberries. There's so much room for this to grow. Thank you for your time.
Van, you did a fantastic job up there. Your presentation skills are very good. Question for you. How long are you in the app development stage? Do you have a working app or a framework for one?
I do not have a working app. I have my development, but everything is there. The OCR is there because there's so many apps that use it. I just demonstrated this in front of my class. Just using Google Lens alone, you can take a picture of a food label and highlight it and convert it into text. That's all you need there. Then using a database. Databases are also already there. The FDA has full running lists of every single food and every name for a food that you can think, literally that exists. So all I would have to do is make a database to put that into, and then the hardest thing from there is the GUI or the GUI. The hardest part is making it usable for the person. It's just going to be the touch screen.
Yes, very great presentation skills. How are you going to manage the liability side of this?
Yeah.
And I'm not a lawyer, just so y'all know, I'm not. Because I do imagine that, there is some risk, right? If the software isn't right? Or, the FDA does have processes through which they have a new digital software path through the FDA for approval.
Yeah.
Would you consider something like that? Or how do you manage that liability?
This is a tool to make people's lives easier. It's not like CPR. This is something I'm going to put a liability thing that people have to sign. I don't remember what that's called, but a disclaimer. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna put a disclaimer that says they're still making their own choices to buy this. This is just solely to help them. So yeah.
Ben, quick question. So on the front end of this, in terms of understanding what an individual's allergies are, did you do any interviewing of people that said, okay, I understand my allergies are this sensitive, because obviously there's a lot of detail in the words, and is there a good understanding, or is that a service that you probably may have to offer as well?
I talked to a lot of like in my school. I just looked at my personal history of food personally. But like in the app, sorry, I'm thinking, I forgot the question.
It was more about an individual really understanding what they have allergies to, so then you can.
So like certain foods, like soy lecithin, like most people aren't allergic to that, and so like most people aren't allergic to everything. So in the GUI, my goal is to have it be so like people can eliminate all dairy, all gluten, like at the same time, or they could like make it more detailed and go back in and like specifically they can't have soy lecithin, or they can't have soybean oil, or they can't have soy protein. But the goal is like either it can be super easy, or if you want it to be very very accurate, then that can happen. The goal is to not have any yellow at any point. You want it to be just green or red. The yellow is just the AI learning. Like it's, yeah.
Are you going to be using your dad as a UI tester?
As a what?
User interface tester.
I don't know. I wouldn't use it as a tester. I don't have like data. Are you making a joke?
Yes.
Yes.
So if your dad can use it, it's good.
Yeah. If he can use it, then anybody can use it. The biggest that is a problem, because like it's taken time. Like he sends us pictures of food labels like all the time just to see if like, is this okay? And that makes it even longer of a trip to a store. So.
Okay, quickly. So there are other apps out there that do allergy, reading, or you can scan a barcode or something. Like, how is your app going to be different than those?
So almost every food app, and especially, for example, the Fitbit app, they only tell you the caloric intake. They don't actually tell you like what's in it specifically that's safe or not. Thank you.
Wow, those are some great pitches. So tonight we have to do the tough decision making with our panel of judges here. So we're going to take a 10-minute intermission. Please go mingle. Go find maybe some more people to talk to about your intervention. Find some money out there in the crowd. I'm sure somebody might be willing to donate tonight. And we'll see you back here in 10 minutes, okay?
TC New Tech, Scene 1A, Take 1. I started Sample Serve back in 2001, and we were a company that specialized in sampling. And then we started creating our own software to facilitate the sampling. So I needed to find people who were, doing code in Traverse City. I was literally at the dog park. I started talking to somebody and asked them, so what do you do? And they're like, well, I write software. And, I'm like, really, where do you work? And they're like, well, I work out of my house. And I thought, oh, very interesting. Again, the next day, different person, different dog, and asked the same question to somebody I was talking to. What do you do? And they're like, well, I write software and I work out of my house. And I'm like, I think there might be a bigger tech community in Traverse City. There were tech people in the community, but they just weren't connecting with one another. And so there had to be some kind of a way for people to, show up at the same place at the same time. So we started TC New Tech in Traverse City and everyone got together. The concept is every month you have 5 businesses. They get 5 minutes to pitch their idea or concept and then 5 minutes of Q&A, and they just get up back to back. Pitching is of value, but the connecting afterwards of all like-minded people was the real value. It did require a lot of time and effort to pull things off, but it wasn't difficult because the demand seemed to be there. The people in the community, once they found out about it, they showed up. The first meeting was probably, 40, 50 people, and then it just kept growing every time. People that showed up the month before would show up again and they'd bring a friend. We literally couldn't get any more people. We ran out of chairs. People would stand along the back wall, and that's when we knew, we got to find a bigger venue. So if you're going to pitch at TC New Tech, you don't have to be just from Traverse City, but you want to be generally from Northern Michigan, Northwest Michigan, although there have been people that pitched as far as Cleveland. Some people would be like, well, I can't go to this thing because it's for tech people. It's too techy. I wouldn't understand. The reality is it's not too techy. Anybody can show up. They can understand what's going on because it's just business. So if you're interested in technology at all, I would encourage you to show up. I guarantee it'll be worth your while. Looking forward to seeing you.
Waiting by the landline, adjusted yourself to the rising sun and to me. All the things I could have done, found your true location. Darling, with this old map, we found our way back. Whoa, to the back, sure, circle our way back.
I would honestly say that the people is maybe one of the most underrated, or something that you wouldn't think of when moving back to either a small town or a rural environment. The demographics here are extraordinarily different than San Francisco, but we've managed to find amazing people who are super cool, and we share a lot of either hobbies or other things in common with that have made living here pretty awesome.
Y'all, can you tell I'm like shivering?
Are you?
No, I can't. Okay, I keep like. Okay. You can start. Great. I'm Kristen Brelhacker, and I work for Airbnb, actually, based out of San Francisco, and I oversee their humanitarian team.
And my name's Keenan May. I'm trained as an architect and do a little bit of architecture, but I work also in a tech company who is, we used to be based out of San Francisco, but now we're based out of Nevada.
Yeah, we have a daughter who's coming up on 2 years old, and so we spent my maternity leave here, which was a great kind of test of the waters, and then after that just made the move and decided this was where we wanted to be, and it's been incredible.
We're, I think, a little skeptical on the schools here and the resources available here for raising her, for helping raise her. But I think we're pretty excited about what we found so far. There are amazing schools and there are amazing families that we share time with. And to be able to live in an environment like this where we get out all the time, every day with her is, I think, second to none.
Yeah.
The winter in northern Michigan wasn't necessarily any kind of roadblock. It was almost a little bit refreshing because with winter comes fall and spring. And coming from a location where we otherwise didn't see any seasonality, it was a wonderful change. Like to have that dynamism throughout the year, everything from the trees to the snow to the the water changing, is welcoming us, I think. But
don't get me wrong, winter is brutal.
Yeah.
And you figure out ways to enjoy it. But I think that's the point. You have to figure out ways to enjoy it and get outside.
I think just to point out the obvious too, like Michigan is very different than the West Coast. It's very different than the East Coast. It's different from a scalar perspective, right? The mountains are smaller, they're mostly hills. The waves are maybe smaller, they're completely different. There are all of these kind of differences in scale, but they all make up for themselves in just completely new opportunities or new ways of looking at things. So I think it's those kind of either dichotomies or that dynamism that makes it so interesting and enjoyable.
When your son is 3 and within a time of a year you get like almost a month worth.
Wasn't that a fantastic reflection on the variety of high quality STEM learning opportunities we have in this region? Thank you.
Crunch time, Ashley. Are you ready? Ashley's going to join us to help announce the winners.
Team 1, team 2, since I don't know. All right. So we start with
our honorable mention.
Right. Honorable mention is the Elk Rapids team. Come on up. Or did I supposed to come on up, right? Yes. Perfect. And our third place team is Tech Girls with Stubbornism. And our second place team is Traverse City West Van. Come on up. And the grand prize of the pitch event for the high schools goes to North Ed Services, the greenhouse. Come on up.
Okay, so the first place team has won $500 toward your school program. Second place has won $250 toward your school program. And third place has won $100 toward your school program. So thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Yes, to the NMC Foundation has donated those prizes.
Congratulations, everyone, and you guys did a great job. So we're going to take a moment here to thank everyone who helped you get to this point. I'm sure we have some mentors in our stage or maybe watching from afar. We want to say a special thank you to Bailey Golden. Okay, I apologize. She's not here. Abigail McKernan. Dave Evans. If you'd like to stand up. Russell Schindler. Dave Evans. Are you here? Okay. Thanks, Dave. Judy Potter. Kevin Clark. Heidi Sodak, I apologize. Dave Summers. Daniel Brodstrom. Dan Ryle. Jay Meldrum. And Mark Stevens, I apologize. Thank you all. And once again, guys, great job tonight. All right. And hopefully we'll see you next year back at the second annual event. We're going to definitely have that going on. Well, you can take it the stage and exit to the right. Thank you, guys. You're so welcome. Great job, McKinsey.
One more thank you, Sarah. We got to reach out to these instructors here that did such a great job.
Oh, yes. One more time. Is this Holly Zadovic? If I am not pronouncing it right, I apologize. And then Holly Ann McHugh. Thank you, Holly. Sage Brown. And once again, we have Mark Sodak. Thank you. Thank you, teachers. It's very important work. All right, we're going to be moving on with our program. And next, we're going to start with our NMC pitches. Ashley's got to get down there and do some work. Thank you, Barb. So we're going to start with Pet Tracker. Oh, who all doesn't love a pet tracker? One from the team? Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Before I begin, can I just please get a show of hands of how many people in here are pet owners? Okay, quite a few. Okay, now to yourself, I just want you to think, how many times have you taken your pet to the vet and forgot a piece of information or felt like you were missing something that would have been really important to know at the time? I know I have. And that's where my app, Pet Tracker, comes into place. I'm Shelby Bigelow, and I'm the founder of this app that is designed for the convenience of you as the pet owner to have all of your pet's information in one safe, secure place. So this idea began in November of 2020 when my dog, who's here on screen, who was 15 years old, got really sick. This led to surgeries, treatments, and as you can guess, a lot of tracking of his information, his documents, and just anything that you can think of that the vet needed. And that's where the value of this app came into place. As you began to think about, you needed to track his information, have a safe spot to do it, and be able to connect to the vet. So with this, you'll be able to track conveniently in just the palm of your hand and be able to show your vet every bit of information that they may need to help your pet. And that's our main value, the convenience to know that your pet's information is with you at all times, no matter if you're traveling, switching vets, anything, to keep their health and their safety your main priority. So what does tracking look like? Tracking looks like being able to have an individual pet page that you can go into, and when it opens, you will have different checkboxes and different tracking elements that you will be able to make sure that every detail of your pet's life is ready for the vet or just for maybe even a pet sitter to be able to see and keep it safe, just so that you and anyone that you give access to the app are able to access it. Thank you. Okay. So what is an app like this going to cost? As of right now, it's in the development phase of just a free version that is, as stated, free. But as more features become available, we'll develop a pro version that will be anywhere from 99 cents to $2, depending on what features you decide that you want to go with. And with that, the cost of a software developer is anywhere from $5,000 upwards, and keeping maintenance with that is around $1,000 a year. But thanks to things such as ad revenue, we'll be able to keep this cost to not be one of our main concerns, because ads that will be displayed within the app and from the app itself can take anywhere from 2 cents to $2.50 per advertisement going back into our account. So when it comes to the marketability of this app, as can be seen, 90.5 million families in the United States account for the number of pet owners. Or to further break that down, 70% of the United States are pet owners. And with that, millions of people are currently being enrolled in pet insurance plans that further help with vet costs and the ability to afford to go to the vet. Now, while there are other apps out there that deal with your pets, none are as extensive as ours. While they allow you to track food, water, exercise, we go further and go into vet visits, grooming, and just any other detail that you may think of. When it comes to the team for this, there's me. I'm the founder of Visual Communications graduate from Northwestern Michigan College, who's certified in several Adobe programs and trained in several others. And then my mentor, Abigail McKernan, who is the founder of Spark in the Dark and HelpLink. Our ask for this product is, as somebody who recently graduated, I'm looking for a graphic design internship or possibly a software developer to help with the furthering of this application. And if you scan the QR code right there, you'll have access to my virtual business card and any questions.
So Shelby, just a quick question about the process you went by to collect information about why users would want this app and what their needs are. Can you just talk about customer discovery process?
Yes, so a lot of the discovery for wanting to build this app came from my own personal experience with my dog, but also I know several people and I'm friends with somebody who is a veterinarian that's discussed different problems that they've had when treating animals and just information that gets left out, especially when transferring from one vet to another. So that's kind of where I've been seeing different things that this could play into.
And did you talk to the vets themselves about the databases they may maintain for pet owners and what information is already captured that way?
I have. I've talked with them just a little bit about it, and I'm planning on talking with them more just to further make sure that as this goes in, everything will be smooth for the pet user.
Kind of along those lines, I see the profile of the competitive situations. it seemed the vet side of things was something unique to your product. The value of that side of the house versus the it looked like some of the day-to-day food, water, exercise could be a lot of entry. What's your thoughts on benefit of just using aspects like the veterinary history?
So when it comes to the veterinary history, I'm planning on developing a spot where you'll be able to have a PDF like backlog of all of your pet's information right there. So it'll be very convenient for you to get that to the vet.
Not to hammer the vet side too much, but I also had a question about the vets. It seems like that's a primary focus and what you're going to do to differentiate your app. Do you see yourself kind of expanding to provide something that they can log into in order to keep track that way? I mean, can you dive deeper on the actual connection to the vet, I guess?
So what I'm planning on for this app is there will also be a web application that's specifically for the vets to be able to keep track of their clients or log in a new client to be able to have their information ready and be able to see and track within that if there's anything that needs to change or be tracked.
Where are you in the actual software development cycle? So obviously you had some, click-throughs, maybe like kind of like more advanced wireframes. Can you speak more to your software development?
So right now in the software development, I have an app that functions and you're able to go in and log your pet's information. But there's more features that I want to add to it before I fully launch it onto an app store. It's able to be used within like Google and web applications such as that. But there's more that I would like to develop before it goes fully onto the App Store. But it's to a point that you can track your pet's information and be able to log anything that you need.
Shelby, follow up on that one. What additional features would you like to implement in the app, especially if you're going to have some upcharges associated with them?
Some additional features that we would like to have associated is something specifically for breeders as well, to be able to go on and log information for them to be able to put their pets that they are currently breeding and have people get background checks and look into that for adopting a pet. And we'd like to include a map function that could possibly connect with Google Maps to showcase pet parks or veterinary clinics nearby.
Great job, Shelby. All right, next we had Rob Leviora. One of those? Okay, great, guys. Welcome to the stage.
Hello, my name is Shelby Setkovic, and I am the founder of Rod Leviora.
And I'm Manny McMillan, the co-founder.
So Rod Leviora came up because I've been working for a survey company for the past 3 years, and one of the problems that we've experienced is taking measurements inside of a manhole. One of the biggest things is accuracy. Usually you're only getting accurate data to a half of a foot, and that can cause structural integrity to the pipes. It also takes a lot of time. It takes about 10 minutes per manhole, and because you're usually in the middle of a road doing these measurements, you're exposed to a lot of cars. So it also has a safety aspect. And I know what you're thinking, why not just go down and look in it? Well, the problem is OSHA has a rule where we're not allowed to go into confined spaces, and manholes are classified as confined spaces. So our solution is we're going to increase accuracy to be within 0.05 of a foot. It's also going to cut time in half, so you're going to spend an average about 5 minutes in the road. So because of that, we're hopefully going to decrease deaths by about 10%.
Our first design was a long LED attachment to the solder level rod shown in the first picture. After many hours at the makerspace and meeting with our mentor and 6 iterations, we've created a perfect attachment. As you can see from the first photo, we improved it a lot. So how does it work? You take the attachment and then you insert it from the bottom, and then adjust it to whatever position you want it to be. You have the option of 45 degree, 90, and 180. And then you insert the pin and lock it, plug it in, and then turn it on. Then you take it to the manhole, get your measurements. Yeah. With our product, we are able to light up the level rod number 10 feet inside the manhole. We made it lightweight so it doesn't add or hinder the movement when going down. The attachment is durable and waterproof, which is needed in both the sanitary and storm manholes. In the future, we plan to add a self-tightening clamp for better adjustment and up and down movements.
So in this image, you can clearly see that this was actually used on a project for this group that I work for, Spicer Group. This was about a 6-foot deep manhole, and you can see that our product easily shows the number. So for our business model, we plan on producing 10,000 units. We're going to do plastic injection molding. It's going to cost us about $185,000. We plan on selling it about $150 per. We're hoping for an 87.7 profit margin and a total profit of $1.3 million.
There is already an established market where our product will flourish. In the US alone, there are roughly over 43,000 surveyors who can buy not one, but 2 of our product. In Michigan, we have 5 supply stores that can sell our product for retail. There are also over 300,000 civil engineers who can buy from us, 1 unit per field person.
So for our competition, right now, there's nothing like this on the market. It's really just traditional survey methods. As you can see in this image over here, this is the best that we are doing currently. It is just tying a ribbon around a grade rod and flashing a flashlight. That actually is what causes that inaccurate data. We are also relying on engineering plan sets, and sometimes they're not up to date or they were changed in the field and were not put up. So if you compare it to our product, on the end, we do have a really good photo. So for the team, I am in a marine technology major. I'm also going for my survey engineering associates, and I'm also planning on becoming a licensed surveyor as well. I have been working for Spicer Group for about 3 years, so I've got 3 years of experience in this industry.
And I am an engineering tech student majoring in unmanned area systems. I have an experience in 2D and 3D modeling.
So for our ask, we're asking for help continuation on rod levy or development, whether it's coming up with new ideas or figuring out the next steps. We are also asking for scholarship sponsorship as we continue our educational degrees. Any questions?
So I have a question for you on the charging mechanism. So how are you recharging that unit, and how many uses can you get on a single charge?
It has a 12-volt rechargeable battery. So it has a, okay. As you can see from the one you're holding, it has 2 ports, one for the lights and one for charging. Just plug into any outlet, charge it. Yeah. So it can last up to, I want to say, 2 hours of usage.
So I'm a little survey stupid. I'm going to ask you probably a dumb question, but number one, are those survey measuring tools, are they standard?
Yes, this is standard. Okay. Usually every survey crew has at least one, because not only is it what we call our dipstick, or there's another name for it that I will not mention, it also acts as our level rod. So we use, this is like one of the biggest tools that I think every surveyor has, and if they don't have it, they're not a good surveyor.
And as far as the market, does each individual surveyor need their own rod, or does each survey team have one? And
no, it's not a team. Unless you're an intern that is going with it, or you are a survey technician like myself that doesn't have a vehicle and you're riding with a crew chief, but crew chiefs are required to have one. If they don't have one, it's not a good idea.
Gotcha. And okay, so one final question. as far as fitting the device on the measuring stick, is that something you have to move up and down for every measurement in order to see correctly what number it is? I mean, how does it actually work?
So it depends on the manhole. So typically on most manholes, there's usually only 2 big giant holes on either side that are usually either going north or south or east to west. So those are always typically standard. And unless it was a huge giant manhole that was like 4 feet or a huge pipe basically underneath, that's when you would need the adjustment. But for the most part, there's somewhere between about 1 foot to 1.5 feet. So that's what those angles are for as well.
Just looking at the cost of the dipstick itself, how does that compare to what you plan on charging? And did you do any discussion around budgets on the survey teams and how much money they have available for those kind of purchases?
So just from my experience, it's really, if you break, you just go get a new one. Typically a survey rod costs somewhere between $50 to like $200, depending on which survey store you're going to or what your deal is. Usually with these survey supply stores, you usually have an account on file and you're working with that provider. And then with the cost of this, since it's only $150, it's usually what the cost of most average survey supplies are, besides like your traditional ribbons, stakes, hammers, that kind of thing.
Can this also be used for any, or can you adapt this? Because I know that surveyors, I'm pretty survey stupid as well, but I know that surveyors use lots of other tools. Is there any way to adapt this technology to also simplify other processes in the field?
When it comes to what this product is specifically doing, not so much, because a lot of this would be working in dark places, which is not done normally unless you work at night. But due to OSHA rules and regulations, we are not allowed to work after dark because of safety. But the nice thing is we also can tell this to engineers that can do the 180 flip, which allows them to actually look down the manholes to see if there's any obstructions or anything that they have to do for their typical clearings.
You can also use it as a lamp.
That too. It's a great lamp. That's why I said if you were going to look at it, just don't look into the light. It's very bright.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have AI Ag Controls. Please join us today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alex Groening.
And I'm Alec Rice.
And we started Ag Controls.
All right, so the problem that we're addressing today is crop damage in the agricultural industry and use cases involved in livestock. Every year, there's about $4.5 billion in crop damage, mostly caused by deer.
So we started looking at this problem and tried to determine how we can solve this issue. We figured out we need to detect if there's a pest in the area. We need to verify that it's actually a pest. And then we need to repel it from lingering in the area somehow.
All right, so our plan for investment is to attach it to or use it for existing repellent systems like propane cannons, sound scent, and sound delivery systems. What a propane cannon is, it makes a loud like blast, usually in the morning or evening. But with our device, if there's a large amount of animals detected, we would be able to trigger it and have the propane cannon go off to scare away the animals.
Within the scope of this class, we weren't able to get quite that far. And so we integrated a sound and visual repellent into our minimum viable product. It detects motion with a simple motion sensor, takes a picture, sends that picture via cell signal to your cell phone just in your email. You can respond to that email, and then it will actually activate the sound alarm and the lights. Part of the process that we went through, we just started with a very basic design, 3 weeks time. And then after 3 weeks with customers, we got some feedback, added a solar panel to deal with the power issues we were having to get a longer life on it, as well as adding a better housing to protect it from the elements. As far as feedback we got, one customer lives in a very rural area, and he had had several trail cams stolen, so he said it would be a good alternative security measure for him. as well as keeping track of his turkeys because they would get stolen by wild turkeys.
All right, so who would be interested in our product? As we discussed for Mentor, we all agreed that the agricultural industry would be the best business option for our product. This would be ideal for farmers and ranchers and vineyards in our area. So our go-to-market plan, we would start with local clients and word of mouth. We would use these clients for beta testing. This would prove the demand for our product, and then we would go to farm and supply retailers like Tractor Supply Company to sell our product.
So our main competitors are just typical trail cameras. That technology is advanced to where you can actually get short video sent to your phone currently, but they lack any sort of automation controls. We are really trying to push integrating to existing systems that farmers and vineyards and ranchers have already invested in, and be able to trigger those things remotely when you know that there's a pest in the area.
So this is the team behind our product. We have our founder, Alex Gronin. He's the software developer for our product. He is majoring in the industrial controls and robotics program here at NMC. We have myself, Alec Rice. I'm majoring in marine technology here at NMC, and I was in charge of the electrical and the housing for our product. And then we have our mentor, Kevin Clark, who is the founder of Critter Control and is currently retired.
All right, money-wise, our current product would sell for about $500. That's with off-the-shelf sort of components. With some engineering into integrated circuits and circuit boards, we feel that that price can be brought down by about 30%.
So the current status of our product, we have decided to name our prototype Fencer. We believe that our product is ready to be integrated into our repellent systems that we mentioned earlier, like the propane cannons. And we do want to add a phone app for ease of use for our clients, so they're not struggling with emails and stuff like that.
And our ask is if anybody's interested in this product, some continued mentorship, mostly in the development of the phone app, as well as breaking into the agricultural market. We're both tech guys, so we struggle with that a little bit. And any questions that you might have?
Thanks for your presentation, guys. So I actually just had some personal experience with something similar. I had to get rid of some pests, and I went on Amazon and I found just the generic, like, here's a motion sensor, ultrasonic, get rid of pests in your yard type product. Can you kind of take a deeper dive on how yours is going to be different from that? Because that's at a much cheaper price point.
Yep. Yeah. So those things are really great for like home use and garden. Like one of our particular testers lives in Benzie County in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't have any power. He doesn't have Wi-Fi on his property. This is using cell signal and its own, solar panel power. So it's geared for a much more remote type of setting. We had originally also had GPS incorporated. So like if you wanted to move this from problem area to problem area on like a large farm, you could easily move it to different areas, track where you had it, and see where your pests are coming from.
Yes, great presentation. Thank you. I think that there's been some data around, animals getting used to certain sounds, noises, whatever. How does your product plan to combat animals, getting used to certain things?
Yeah, our founder, Kevin Clark, actually brought that up, and he said that with multiple types of stimulus, that number is actually brought down by quite a bit. That's why he suggested in our original prototype to use sound and light, because one of those stimulus, yes, they'll get used to it. Having multiple like that, though, tends to confuse them, and they, even if having it exposed time and time again, they're still scared by it.
Just making sure I understood correctly. So the device is going to take a picture, and then it'll be up to the recipient of the image to initiate the response?
Correct. The thought process behind that was, currently like a propane cannon is typically set to go off on a timer.
Yep.
If you were just to direct connect this, if like a bumblebee flew in front of it, it could send a false positive and kind of defeat the purpose. We had talked about AI recognition. That's a few years ahead away from being usable. So the best place for right now would be send a picture, have a person manually confirm that, yeah, I want to get rid of that pest.
So AI pattern recognition is on the roadmap, or?
So the last time I looked at it, there was a university group that had been working on it, and they were still thinking 5 years out before it was a usable technology. It'd be something I'd want to integrate into this in the future, but I do think it's outside of my wheelhouse.
Sure, thanks.
Kind of along those lines, can you explain a little bit what the integration would look like with some existing devices?
Yeah, so it'd basically just be the reverse of what this is right now, rather than, well, actually, it would include what was in this. It would receive a signal. It'd be, right now we're just using like a Raspberry Pi, but you could use any, a custom-made integrated circuit that would then send a signal to whatever type of infrastructure you already had. If it's a propane cannon, it would just tell it to cycle, similar to how the timer works, but instead you would have an actual, automation that you would initiate. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, hello. Okay. Next, we have A-Line joining us.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We are Align, and we are here to straighten out your problems. So, how many of you have seen whiteboards that look like this? They are confusing and hard to read and messy. Now, boards that look like this, on the other hand, in a moment, there we go, are way easier to read. You can actually read what's written on the board. It is clean and you can understand what's written. You can read easily top to bottom, left to right, and they're just nice. Well, my name is Holly Johnson.
And I'm Chase McMaster.
And we have created the product for you to get you from messy to marvelous. We've created Align.
So this is our product. It's easy to use. It's auto leveling. So when you slap it on a surface, it'll fall down to perpendicular to the ground. It has interchangeable backs, so you can stick to a variety of surfaces. There are 5 lines on it that are 2.5 inches apart, and there are 5 different laser modes as shown.
So this transforms education and note-taking. So students who have dyslexia or ADHD or have poor eyesight, it can be really difficult for them to read boards that have messy handwriting or small writing written on them. And so this will be a guide to the teachers to help them maintain consistent spacing and easier to write bigger so that the students can understand and retain the information that's being taught to them better. This also saves you time and money. So if you have this product, you can write something and one and done. You got it right the first time. No redos necessary. If you're using this for signage for like a company, you don't have to hire an artist to do that for you since you have lines provided for you now to help you with that. Super portable, can fit in a backpack. It's easily attachable. It can attach to basically any surface at any height. And it takes 10 seconds or less to set up, and any age can use this.
So our market is the educational market for teachers, K through 12, instructors, students, and artists. And also in the industry, we're looking at trainers, instructors, and people who do presentations often.
So for our market strategy, we would be targeting, for indirect sales, we would be looking at bookstores and office or school supply stores, as well as the educational market. And then for direct sales, we could sell directly to the whiteboard and chalkboard companies that they could sell this product along with theirs.
So for our market opportunity, we can make this product for $55 and our selling price is $100. And if we sold just one unit to 0.5% of US small businesses, we would get 162.5 million. And if we sold just one unit to 1% of the US public schools, we get just under 100,000.
So we are the first to market. There's nothing on the market specific to whiteboards and chalkboards like this. That being said, we're also an add-on to an existing market. So that would be the chalkboard and whiteboard companies. And that would be really easy to get into, easy to sell to, and that adds value to their products at a relatively low cost to them.
For a competitive analysis, there's nothing on the market that is like our device. The only other thing in the educational market that kind of works like this is smartboards. However, they're expensive, hard to use, and in my personal experience, the only time we ever touched the smartboard was to move it out of the way to use the whiteboard behind it. And then the only other lasers on the market are laser levels in construction.
So here's the team. I'm Holly Johnson. I'm a visual communication student at NMC. I am certified in Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign with experience in web design.
And I'm Chase McMaster. I'm the co-founder. I'm a marine technology student at NMC, and I am certified in SolidWorks and Python programming with experience with electronics, 3D design, and 3D printing.
So our ask is just to meet with anybody interested in this idea. That being said, we are college students with additional schooling ahead of us, so any additional funding to help with that would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
So the device, can it be used to aid with vertical alignment, or is it strictly a horizontal?
No, it is strictly horizontal because of the auto leveling.
Gotcha. Good presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
How far do the lasers go?
Right now it's about 4 feet, but that can be changed with higher power lasers.
Do you foresee the price of the unit coming down if you can mass market it?
Yeah, if you could mass produce it mainly.
Would the base product come with, you talked about there being different attachment piece or types?
Backs, yeah.
Back, thank you. Would those be kind of like a razor blade model for additional sales, or would they come with a preset?
They would come with the device, so you could change it wherever.
Follow up to that. Do you envision the ability to turn some of those LEDs on or off? I'm thinking like an elementary school might need larger width lines versus a college.
Well, it has those 5 different laser modes that were shown in that video.
Okay, so they all toggle through.
Yeah, it toggles through all of those modes. Yep.
All right.
In your customer discovery process, did you spend some time about the willingness to pay at that level of $100, and how significant a problem this is?
Yeah, so we would like to have the cost lower, obviously, because teachers only get so much to pay every year for supplies for their classrooms. And so this would be a little pricey for that range. But again, if we mass produced it, it would bring the cost down a lot.
What did you learn from your field testing? What kind of iterations did you go through?
So we tested it on 2 different elementary school teachers. And our first prototype was a bit bigger and it was heavier. And the lines of the lasers didn't really work really well. But our second prototype, we got all of the lasers to be level and parallel to the ground, and made it a lot easier to stick on the board.
So you said it goes on any surface. How does it actually attach? Is it magnetic or?
Yeah, so right now we have a magnetic back and a suction cup back. So you can stick it to a whiteboard or chalkboard via the suction cups mainly, but some whiteboards do have a magnetic aspect to them.
Gotcha, thanks.
Great, thank you guys. last, we have cosmic printing. We'll get your slide up right here.
That's you. All right. Well, let's get this started. All right. So I'd like to start off by asking who here has heard of 3D printing? All right. That's a lot of you. Well, perfect. My name is Max Streeter. I am a third-year Marine Tech student at NMC.
I am John Monahan. I'm my second year of engineering technology student.
And we're here with Cosmic Printing, and we think we can revolutionize 3D printing. How are we going to do this? Well, you got to look at the problems of 3D printing. And some of your day-to-day problems is changing your filament color. It takes a long time. It can cause jams. It's just inconvenient to be changing filaments all the time. And I'm sure people who have used printers would agree with me. So you also have to store all these different colors, which that takes up a lot of storage space. And then you're going to switch over to bulk filament sizes. They only come in limited colors. Then you're limited with what colors you can print with. And we just didn't like those limitations. So how would we solve these problems? Here's our solution. We use our product, we call it the Prism. And as you can see, we have translucent filament coming in, goes through our device, pictured in the middle there. And depending on the color of ink that you have in at the time, it can make multiple different color prints come out of your printer. You can see the Prism attached here in the left photo to our testing printer. Something that was very important to us is that it was easily adjustable to many sizes of printers. So we use zip ties, which are a convenient source of attachment because it can be used with any size. You can see the ink cartridge on the lower right and a close-up of the Prism in the upper left. Oh, and so how do we realize if this is successful? Well, we want to reach at least a 80% color saturation compared to normal translucent filaments. We also would need it to be easier and faster because that is our goal.
Normally, you would need a spool of filament for every color you want to print. This can lead to problems as far as storage goes, as you can see up here. Now, with this, you're able to use a larger roll of filament instead of multiple small rolls. Me, as an amateur, like I said, I just first started out with this, so it took me about 2 to 5 minutes to change out a spool of filament. Now, with this, it only takes me about 15 to 30 seconds.
I've been printing for years now, so I can get my time down a little shorter. But with our device, the pros and the amateurs can use the same amount of time to change the color of their filament. So here's our results. As you can see, they're pretty colorful. Definitely not the color of the filament going in, which was clear. So we think it's great. We hope you guys think it's great too. And we will also have these out in the lobby. So if you guys want to get a closer look, we've got a few prints as some examples.
As our kits, we're going to be selling them as kits, as you can see in the picture what comes with it. But we wanted to emphasize that the actual print of the prototype of the Prism actually comes in a USB file, so it saves on storage and for the customer base that we're trying to reach. So our 3-year projection, all right, as you can see from year 1 to year 2, year 3, all right, we're going to be selling these at about $12.50. Or we can sell them, or we can make them for about $12.50, selling them for about $25 a piece. Our ask is for $150,000. Now we know it seems like this is a lot, but with product development, we're asking for about $100,000. Sales and marketing, we're asking for about $30,000, and for patent development, we're asking for about $20,000. Questions?
Good presentation, guys.
Thank you.
So I just have to clarify, when you sell the product, the kit, you're making your customer 3D print their own housing?
Isn't that why they have a 3D printer?
Is that right?
Yeah, they have a 3D printer, so
That's
no reason for
genius.
us to produce them.
That's pretty cool.
We think it is pretty cool. It also cuts down on shipping costs because we're not having to ship as big of a package.
Right. Okay, I'm going to think of another question, but I just want to get that out of the way first.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that we are selling it to hobbyists and print farms as well. So mainly hobbyists would be kind of like me, but anybody who has like a 3D printer, this would be available to.
Does this, your inking technology work with different types of filament like ABS, PLA?
Yes. So any translucent filament. So any filament that you can get in a translucent color, it will work with. We've only tested with PTG and PLA because that was our printer's capability. But there is no reason that it wouldn't work with ABS or nylon or any of those filaments.
Did you do any estimates of the cost to compare what a set of colored filaments would be versus the ink plus the translucent?
Because the inks are very cheap, and there's multiple companies producing them, it's very much a negligible cost after you buy your kit up front. And translucent filaments actually usually run a little bit cheaper than their colored counterparts, so that will help make up for the little extra cost for ink.
So is your thinking overall, it would be, obviously it saves time for the changeover, but the actual per foot of the filament, it will be cheaper?
Yes, and that's part of going with bulk. You can buy bulk clear filament. That's one of the most common colors for bulk. So when you buy in bulk, it will be cheaper.
What about really dark colors? So can you get black out of this ink, or is it going to be gray?
So because it is a translucent filament, we ran black through it. It kind of turns out a smoky glass color. We think that with higher quality inks, we would be able to get those colors much darker and much more saturated. But with what we have, we were happy to reach that 80% saturation value.
Following up on that one, is there fill lines on there for the user? How do they know how much ink to put in there so that they get that light pink color versus red?
So we have a recommended amount of ink to add for every sponge, but because every environment could change, you don't know when you need to add more ink. So as long as your sponge is saturated with the ink, then you're good.
And then to change colors, you're changing the sponge?
No, so those sponges were contained within a cartridge, and the cartridge pulls out of the top of the device. So you would be able to have multiple cartridges with different color sponges in them. Oh yeah, you can also change it mid-print. So as you can see with one of the examples we have up there with the lizard, he's got a different colored bottom than he has the top. So you don't even have to stop your printer to change colors. Thank you.
Is that all the questions? Thank you, guys. All right, everyone. Well, we're at that time again. We're going to take a 10-minute intermission break, take some time out in the lobby, get to know each other. And while our judges are here deliberating a little bit, we'll call you guys back in, okay? Thank you.
Back with him physically, it really kind of lands the fact of, balance and time with family is important. And you don't realize what you sacrifice when you do take on a location with a commute to go places.
Okay, my turn?
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, what is it again? Just name?
Name and occupation, yeah.
Okay. My name is Sarah Diaz-Pinnell, and I am VP of Sales and Business Development at a startup in LA.
My name is Kyle Pinnell, and I own my own design consultant firm called Pen and Pad.
So we spent most of our career in California, and we loved it. It's such a great place to grow up professionally in our career, but decided we love Michigan. We love Traverse City, that we can actually afford a house here and actually have a backyard. And we grew up riding our bikes around the neighborhood. I would just leave my house and not come home for hours. You can't do that in LA. And so we wanted our kids to have that opportunity to kind of, small community feel, and just, have a house that they can live in. And yeah, to me, that was the most important part.
For me, what's super underrated in Grand Traverse is access. When I say access, I mean access to the airport, access to water, access to parks and trails and sunset vantage points. There's so much here, and it's all accessible. We spoke earlier about, distance of car rides and commuting, and what's really almost an ongoing nice surprise is just how close things are in regards to weekday and weekend adventures.
That's an awesome answer. I couldn't agree more.
So I had no idea there was surfing in Michigan. I was doing a lot of research on the surf culture out here and sending him all these pictures and waves and like, look, you can still surf, you can do what you love. We'll just get you a nice thick wetsuit and you'll be good to go.
All right, name and what?
Name and occupation.
Okay.
All right.
So my name's Haley, and I'm a food and farming policy associate at the Groundwork Center, which is a local nonprofit here in Traverse City. And I also make earrings.
Hi, my name is Sam Bennett. I'm the CEO and founder of Swell-Minded, my global consultancy that I build brands and partnerships that are prioritizing people and the planet.
As we were looking at places to move, one of the options was, do you want to move to California? That's where Sam spent a lot of time and his family's from. We really wanted to move to a place that was new for both of us. So Traverse City was a really exciting option where we can both start fresh.
And as we got caught in that grass is greener on the other side, because everywhere's got its pluses and minuses, for us it came down to the lifestyle that we want to live, the type of work we wanted to have, our daily routines that we wanted to have. For us it was outdoors, community, fresh air, and enough of a city and a town to plug into for our night out on the town and some really good food and restaurants. Yeah, so once we made our decision to move to Michigan, everyone back in Hawaii thought that we were crazy. But of course, they hadn't been to Michigan before.
Well, one thing that really drew me to this area was the local food system and just the abundance of restaurants, farms, and that's been so fun. That's one thing we didn't have as many options on the Big Island, so that's been amazing. And that's kind of what allowed us to kind of create our friend group was a passion for local food, the outdoors, and all the same things that brought us here.
So currently most of my clients for Swell-Minded are on the West Coast. And so, it's really nice to have my mornings nice and free and kind of check in mid-morning, get ready for everyone on the West Coast to turn on around midday here and start the workday.
Awesome.
I knew Lake Michigan was beautiful, but when you see it up here, it's just a whole new world. I mean, the colors, it looks just like Hawaii in a lot of ways. I mean, the water is so blue. It surprised me how much I missed the seasons when I didn't have them. Because oftentimes if you're from Michigan, you're itching to go out and explore. And I think leaving and coming back was one of the best things I could have done because it put things into a new perspective and I have a new appreciation for Michigan. And I feel so lucky to call Traverse City home.
Heck yeah.
Come on, Keith. Just kidding. First, I did want to say that both competitions were very tough for the judges. We sweated a lot. Everybody did a fantastic job tonight. High school, NMC, everybody was fantastic. So it's really fun to see Traverse City kind of growing up and seeing kind of people come through, and you had these awesome big ideas. So fantastic job, everyone tonight. It was a tough call on both of the competitions. So anyways, our second place winner is Align. Come on up. And the winner is Rod Lavora. Come on up.
Well, congratulations to the winners. I believe there's some funds that will be handed over to you. I'll let Keith explain that.
Yeah, again, thanks so much to the NMC Foundation for providing, again, a lot of support for both Startup Week and what we've been doing all week long, but also the prize money. So these students, actually the students, first place was $1,000 and second place was $500. So congratulations to them. So with that, it's a wrap. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, everyone.
Ashley. Thank you. Thank you, judges. Thank you, everybody. Again, we're going to be back in here on Sunday night to hear the results or listen to the pitches of Startup Weekend. So again, they're over there in the West Hall Innovation Center right now, forming teams, figuring out what their products are going to be, what their solution is going to look like. And then they've got all weekend to develop that. So again, they'll be back here. I think it's at 3 o'clock, I believe, on Sunday afternoon, and we're going to get those pitches. Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Grab some refreshments on your way